Okay. I gotta find a kickstand for this fucking phone because I'm certainly not gonna hold it the whole time I talk. What do you think, Teeny? Is there anything we can use? Oh, we can use this worthless pencil sharpener that I bought. That doesn't work. Why don't we use that, huh? God. Well, it's... Oh! Fuck! Oh! Fucking pinched my finger. Fucking pencil sharpener doesn't hold the goddamn phone up. Oh, motherfucker, that hurt. That really pissed me off. This fucking pencil sharpener's pissing me off. Stick to the table. Do what I say. Oh my god, you fucking piece of shit. Holy Jesus. This thing is never gonna work. Fucking... Well, it's broken now, so that's great. Fucking piece of shit. God damn it, now I gotta clean up. Goddamn pencil shavings. Fucking piece of garbage. Sorry, Teeny. Okay, welcome to the intro. What's in store? What is to come? You know, what do you have to look forward to in this video? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not a playthrough. This is not a playthrough. Don't let the length fool you. Because I don't watch playthroughs. Whenever I have a sense that something I'm about to click on is a playthrough, I do not click that thing. So know that it's not a playthrough. This is me doing as best I can to analyze some aspects of this game that I've never really heard talked about before. That's not to say that this is super original or... You know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. All right? Look, I did a video talking about this game, and this is an original sort of viewpoint, in my opinion. If you can find sources that also talk about this, don't send them to me. I don't want to live in your world of facts. I'd rather live in my little fantasy realm where what I say about Ocarina of Time goes. So if you're not prepared for that, I'm sorry to say, but I would prefer that you don't watch this. Yeah, sorry. It's not for you. It's not for everybody. Well, I don't even know what I'm talking about. All right, but basically, here's a breakdown. Here's the table of contents. I go temple by temple throughout this thing. So I'm not going to be talking about any side quests. I'm not going to be really talking about the story. It goes Forest Temple, Fire Temple, Water Temple, Shadow Temple, Spirit Temple, and then Ganon's Castle / some endgame shit. So I go chronologically. Now, most of the game is covered in my ramblings, spanning the entire thing. And in fact, there's no proper Forest Temple bit. Because I mention it in passing so many fucking times that you're going to get the picture by the end of this whole thing. But I talk about a lot of stuff. I talk about, oddly enough, the lighting. I talk a lot about the lighting. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Enjoy. Here's my Forest Temple bit. All right, Forest Temple. I actually didn't record anything for this while I was playing it. I recorded like 3 bits of footage that I will include here as I talk over it briefly. Basically, my analysis, if it could be called that, of the Forest Temple, is scattered throughout all of my other analyses of every other temple. So if you listen to this whole thing, you'll get the picture of the Forest Temple eventually. I'm not going into it here. What I will say about it here is that my impression of it this time around is the same as my impression of it every other time I played it, which is not only the strongest possible way to begin the main portion of this game, but very, very surreal. A fantastic introduction to the immaculate composition, musical compositions. I think the music in this temple is among some of the best in the game. But this one sets the standard. I go into it in depth throughout all the other ones. But I almost prefer not to talk about this one because it's really, really magical. And if you're playing this game for the first time, I would hope that it just hits you over the head the same way it did me. So onwards to the Fire Temple. Here we go. All right, Fire Temple. The first thing you'll notice about the Fire Temple is that it's underground. You look up when you get inside. You look up and you realize that the ceiling is rock. So there's already a geographic precedent put in place from the get-go. You run in. You take a left. You enter the room with Darunia, or however you pronounce that dude's name. You look across the platform and you see the boss room. You see the boss door already. It's right there. You know where it is. You clock it the minute you come in, and either he or the Goron quivering in his cell, because this temple is where Ganondorf puts all the Gorons to be eaten by the dragon, which is sad. One of the two tells you, hey, in order to get over to the boss room door, see that pillar sticking out of the ceiling? You look up and there's a pillar coming down from the ceiling. They're like, you're going to have to knock that thing down. So basically it's a platform that you got to knock down from above in order to hop across. Again, setting a geographical precedent for the rest of the temple. Not only are you underground, but you're going to be doing a lot of vertical shit. And they established this pretty early on. So you leave the boss key room. You're back in the main. You're back in the main foyer, the grand hallway, as it were. And you enter the only other room you can enter. Well, you enter the room across the hall, right? And okay, so you go in there, and what you're met with immediately is something really interesting. Now, they did this in the Forest Temple, wherein you walk into the Forest Temple, and the ghosts take the flames away. That's the crux of the Forest Temple. Is basically there's 4 braziers. Is that how you pronounce that? Braziers. 4 braziers that are on fire, and then a couple, like 4. There's 4 of them. Then 4 ghosts come. They take the flames. They go away, and then the temple is sort of settles into darkness. Now, this is a twofold thing that's really, really interesting. On one hand, it's because the graphics are worse. Now, worse. That's a terrible choice in words. I don't actually mean worse. I'm going to get to that. So if you're listening to this right now and you're rolling in your chair saying, Jack, you fucking moron, just wait for it. Please, wait for it. I'm going to get there. So the graphics are worse. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that they're actually worse. I mean that, look, this came out in 97 or 98 or whatever. Majora's Mask came out in 2000 with the additional RAM or whatever the fuck that means. I don't even know what RAM means. Additional memory, whatever, of the expansion pack. Which meant that there was no fogging of any kind. They didn't have to sort of dumb down far off textures in order to provide the game with enough memory to function properly. Now, if you couldn't tell, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm assuming things. I think the assumption is right. I'm sure the wording is wrong, but you get the picture. There's a finite amount of memory on the fucking cart, because carts have less room on them. That's why everybody but Nintendo went over to CDs. CDs nut.
Be careful, you goddamn idiot.
And so in Majora's Mask, that's one thing that you notice immediately, is that there's no fogging whatsoever. Unless you're in the Snowhead Temple, wherein you look up, and I mentioned this in that video whenever it comes out, you look up, and there is some fogging, but it's very deliberate. It's not for the sake of obscuring anything, to release, to free up a little bit of RAM. You know, it's not for that reason. In Ocarina of Time, it is. They're using it. They're using the fog. Nintendo 64 naturally has a lot of fogging. And you know what? Maybe I'll download some Buck Bumble footage to show you people, because this system has some fucking horrible fogging. And you'll get what Ocarina of Time is doing so well if I put this footage in there. Because you'll see that, like, you know, like 5 fucking feet in front of you is totally fucked up. You can't see anything. And it's just like, it's this way of basically allowing, you know, a radius of 5 feet in all directions around you to be perfectly clear, to run smoothly, and then, the rest of the map or whatever is all fogged up because there's just not enough memory to continuously process all of that space. Buck Bumble is a horrible example of it because it's not. There's no art direction precedent for it whatsoever. It's just there, you know. Whereas in the Forest Temple, there's fogging, but it's because the ghosts took the flames away, right? You get into the Fire Temple, it's because there is this atmospheric haze of heat radiating out of the lava into the atmosphere that's blurring it. You know, you think of a mirage or something out in the distance in the middle of a desert or something where heat is right. You know what I'm talking about. Heat rises and the air kind of quivers. Well, you're going to notice that immediately in the Fire Temple because the screen is like moving the whole time, right? Because of this heat. But that also adds this sense of atmosphere, you know. You walk in, okay, look, you can't see that far in front of you. And what I realized at this moment was that less memory does not necessarily equate to worse graphics automatically. And Nintendo proves this here by basically formulating a creative approach to a question of limitation. Rather than saying, well, there's not enough memory to render this properly, we're just going to sort of blur it out, as is the case with Buck Bumble. They say, no, it's a hot underground cavern. There's going to be, mirage. What the fuck is the term for that? Hot air rising up. And, naturally, there's going to be some blurring in the distance because of this elemental, atmospheric, environmental reality, physical reality. And so they're getting away with using less memory, but they're including everything you need. Now, I'm going to cut to a POV shot looking over a bridge to a door in the distance. And then I'm going to cut to a close-up of said door. What is so beautiful about this is that they leave all the information necessary for it to read as three-dimensional reality, right? The shading on around the door, you know, it's coming from a certain angle or whatever. The lighting effects are incredible. So even though they have to minimize the amount of power they're putting into the graphics at this particular moment, they are not refraining from adding all the information necessary in order for you to read that minimization of graphics as intentional. I think that's what they're doing so well here, is that, to rephrase it, Despite the fogging, they provide in the distance at all times. Despite the fogging, they include a fraction of realism, right? Which is the door, which is this realistic, very realistic shading and lighting on the door in the distance. And this fraction of realism basically contextualizes the graphical limitations of the interior of this space as an art direction choice. And that is fucking incredible. I think what's so surprising about this is I went into this assuming, because of the lack of the expansion pack, because of, especially in fucking Hyrule Field, the low polygon count or whatever of Link when you're running around. Look, Hyrule Field looks bad, okay? Now, take this with a grain of salt. That doesn't mean I fucking hate Hyrule Field. This game sucks. All I'm saying is that it's dated. It's dated. It doesn't look all that great. Not saying it's bad. It's incredible for what it is. Fucking massive, big-ass open world. Never seen before. Shut the fuck up. Okay, for all you people rolling in your seats right now, shut the fuck up. I'm not saying it's inherently bad. I'm not saying if you disagree with me, I think you're a fucking moron and you should... All I'm saying is that, look, objectively speaking, it looks bad. It looks bad. So I went into these temples basically assuming the same thing. Of course, Forest Temple basically knocked that out. You know, I realized, okay, the power of the game is going into the temples, right? Hyrule Field is fucking massive. There's not very much memory or whatever allocated to Hyrule Field other than just the sheer amount of size, okay? Now, graphically, the temples is where it's at. And so I went into these temples assuming because of this limited fidelity out in Hyrule Field, this limited fidelity in comparison to Majora's Mask with its expansion pack clarity, that worse graphics were objectively worse. And that's not the case. That's a really surprising thing I learned, is that worse graphics are not necessarily worse. It means a different creative approach imposed by the system's limitations. How fantastic is that? All right. I hope I'm making myself clear in some capacity. Okay, so we look across. We see the close-up of the door. The shading, the lighting, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, another thing you notice that I'm going to show you right now is the detail of these inanimate, sort of meaningless objects scattered throughout the temple. Look, we got a couple of posts right here. Why are they here? Why are they here? We don't need them, right? It's meaningless information. The gameplay would have no difference without these posts. If they just cut these posts, the game would play exactly the same. But the reason I'm pointing them out is because of two reasons. One of which is the immaculate lighting effects. I mean, come the fuck on. I'm so surprised. And the only reason I'm realizing this, truly, I think, is because I've been drawing recently, and of course, I draw from like pictures. I look at pictures, there's lighting, obviously. But an interesting point in every drawing is when you realize you can kind of fuck with the lighting any way you want, and it'll read as realistic. You know, I add fake lights to these drawings all the time. Totally fabricated light sources. And it all comes just from generally a sort of natural observation, right? Of lighting, you know. It's not something I pay attention to. I don't like look at the plant beside the window and study the lighting. You know, it's just something that you kind of register unconsciously. And that's what I'm finding in a lot of these textures in this game. Specifically, I'm talking about this post right here. The lighting is totally fabricated, right? The source is basically a source that only exists on the post itself. The same can be said of the bridge itself, right? If you look at the bridge, there are sections that are lit differently than other sections, which imply a light source, right? Especially under the bridge. That's a great example. It's not an unseen light source because under the bridge is very red. It's lit obviously by the lava. But that gives you a good sense of texturally how they're lighting shit, you know. There's no actual like light engine that's casting like light and shit. I think. I think Majora's Mask has something like this, but here the light is inherent to the textures themselves. Which is interesting because without an actual light source there, and being that the textures themselves are what are providing light effects to these areas, then it goes without saying that the light sources don't exist in any like quote unquote real capacity, you know. And for that reason, I feel like the designers are sort of relying on this inherent sense of, okay, what does light look like? You know, and so they're creating this false lighting based on actual lighting principles and mapping a two-dimensional image of it to a three-dimensional surface. And so it provides this really, really interesting sort of odd reality where light kind of emanates from these objects themselves, and it makes sense, but it's not necessarily coming from anywhere. And it adds this dimension to the graphical fidelity where you really get a sense of like three-dimensional art, right? I think that's what I'm really becoming aware of playing these two games back to back, is that these games, it's three-dimensional polygonal artwork. You know, there's mechanics involved, there's gameplay involved, but when you're walking around and looking at it, it's a fully realized world. Now, in addition to the lighting, looking at this post-fully realized world, there's like runes or some shit, you know, etched into these things. And that's something that you see all throughout the fucking temple. And you see it throughout every temple. It's all sorts of symbolism. Does it mean anything? Of course. There are theories online. You know, when I was younger, I used to be big into that shit. I'm like, oh, you know, what do these symbols mean? They must mean something. Why else would they be there? Going back to it, does it mean anything? Probably not. You know, I think there's some symbols. There are some symbols that obviously reflect the race of people, I would say, that you're trying to help. You know, there's a couple faces on the wall that look distinctly like Gorons. So, you know, that there you go. You know, there's a sense of place. You know, who built this temple? Probably Gorons. Why? Because we see Goron looking shit everywhere. And it's not just blatant Goron, whatever. It is this sort of idealized Goron form, which then that's an artistic choice. You know, that's art direction angled in a sort of classical antiquity sense of, well, how did people back in the day, back in ancient times, depict themselves? Idealistically, you know, not realistically, idealistically, using two-dimensional imagery. And so, while these runes don't necessarily have meaning, they harken back to a sense of antiquity, and that sense of antiquity sets a serious tone. It sets a serious tone throughout the temple as something being a temple. You know, it's not just a dungeon with rooms and mechanics, and it's not like a 2D Zelda game. You know, you can explore this place, and in the simple act of exploration, you get a big-ass story. There's a huge story that takes place, and that's provided by the symbology scattered throughout everything. And there's a major fucking penchant towards symbology throughout every single temple, every single level. You can't deny it. There's no denying that fact. So the story is told through that, obviously, hearkening back to a sort of collective history of this race of people, a history of this temple. And you have a story being built by the atmosphere itself. You know, you go into the next room, whatever. Big chain link fence. There's chain link everywhere, right? What does that tell you? That tells me that this is a place that was built with the fact of heat in mind, because chain link is not necessarily going to burn. Look, there's an aesthetic precedent set by the chain link. It provides a certain look, right? It provides for a really interesting room. And so aesthetically, it's really interesting. It looks cool. But that aesthetic is informed by the reality of the environment, just as the runes are established by the reality of the environment. And that to me is so fucking cool. That's what really makes this an adventure game like Metroid Prime is an adventure game. You look around, there's so much history implanted everywhere in a Metroid Prime game. Now, speaking of the chain link room, here's a fucking amazing puzzle I want to talk about. Now, here's some more puzzle-related shit. So, I walked into this room maybe 5 times, and every time I walked back out. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? You're on the ground floor. There's a blast of fire shooting up, and there's a chain link fence. Now, you can climb up the chain link fence, but then you can't climb across. So basically, there's a flat wall with a chain link fence, and up on top, over this area, is another chain link fence, a flat panel of chain link. Now, you only have access to the chain link from the inside, which means if you were to, crawl your way up, you'd basically have to monkey bar your way across this shit, which you can't do in this game. Now, I know I need to get up there somehow, but I have no idea how. So I go in and out, in and out, in and out, and finally I realize, oh wait, there's a flat panel of chain link up there. Why? I don't need to monkey bar. Look, I have access to the opposite side of this chain link fence. Right when you walk into the room, you can hop across that lava pit and latch onto the chain link. Then you climb up and boom. Now, rather than dangling there, monkey barring across it like I thought you had to do, I realized, no, you just got to think outside of the box. You got to be on the outside and you got to crawl your way up on top. Once you're on top, there's a big-ass block that you push. You push that block, it lands onto the fire that, I had been puzzling over for a little while, and then it makes for a platform that then lifts up through the ceiling into another room and gets you to the next floor. How fucking fantastic is that? I mean, come the fuck on. This is a room that I was certain that I was missing something for. I know that you get the hammer, so there's this hole of fire on the ground. I'm like, well, maybe the hammer does something, right? I was kind of banking on that. Then I realized, well, I can't fucking go anywhere. I got this key, but I have nowhere to go. I realized, all right, I need to approach this room differently. And I did. And you get up to the second level, and this is just such a fantastic puzzle-solving moment. Because look, I'm going to be honest. I'm not the smartest brick in the shed. But I don't for a second think that I went about this puzzle differently than many other people would. I don't think that, generally speaking, somebody would run into this room, hop across in a seemingly unnatural kind of way, get up top. Now, maybe after studying the room a little bit, but this is what I love about, this is what I'm really starting to enjoy, actually. Not that I haven't been enjoying it. Of course I've been enjoying it, but this is what I'm becoming aware of that I enjoy about these games, is that they're puzzle games, And it's not Myst level puzzles where you need like a fucking notebook and like Myst, I was writing shit down constantly. I was filling notes with all these clues and puzzles and having to really genuinely break some stuff down. This is not mathematic. It's not Myst level scientific inquiry type shit. This is puzzles that are solved by simple observation of your surroundings, using the first-person 3D thing to look around, And I think that that's what sort of triggered me into solving this problem, was that I went into this room a couple times, and then at one point, not at one point, but you start looking around, because not only does there have to be an answer hiding here somewhere, but atmospherically, texturally, the levels are beautiful, you know, and there's no time limit here like Majora's Mask, so I have time to just sort of look around as much as I want and admire the fidelity of the graphics, the presentation, the atmosphere, the sound design. God, don't even give me... Oh, I'll have to talk about the sound design later. But, you know, they reward you. You're rewarded progression-wise for looking around, paying attention, studying the environment, and that's a really cool thing. I think that's part of what I enjoy so much about these games is that, like in Metroid Prime, it rewards curiosity, and not just curiosity in terms of like Donkey Kong Country, where if you jump off the fucking map, well, there's a bundle of bananas over here. You know, it's not these leap of faith type things that I'm finding in Donkey Kong Country, which on one hand, pretty cool. I kind of dig that. On the other hand, I'm not going to do that because it seems antithetical to the fucking gameplay, right? This is a game where puzzle solving is not antithetical to the gameplay. Now, I'm not saying that puzzle solving antithetical to gameplay is inherently flawed, right? There's a lot of games out there that are technically... I was just watching a video yesterday. There's games out there that are technically poor, you know, games that get a rating of like a 6 out of 10. And do I think that makes a game bad? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would never, ever, ever say that. What I will say is that makes a game hard for somebody like me, who's a fucking dipshit, okay? And as somebody who's kind of now getting into video games a little bit more, yeah, I'm playing something that's a little bit less punishing, I think is probably the best way to put it. I don't think this is a punishing game. I think this is a game that it can be played by children as well. And considering that my mental faculties when approaching video games are generally that of a child, it's something that I appreciate. So, what am I getting at? Problem solving, it's based on exploration, and that gets me to a fantastic element of this temple, design-wise, which is the fact that there's a central chamber that stretches all the way from the tippy top all the way down, and no, my Majora's Mask thing it may or may not be out yet. You may or may not have listened to it yet. Frankly, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to talk about it anyway. Something that I was blown away by in the other game was the sheer size of that fucking Snowhead Temple. That moment of visual awe when you look up for the first time and realize how fucking big it is, how many more stories there are, this grand reveal that, like I'm saying, you discover on your own. You know, at no point did I walk in and then Navi is like, Jack, look up, look the fuck up. You know, there was no cutscene where it showed me all the way up. It was up to me to look up. And that's something I appreciate because I did it and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking crazy. The same thing happened here. I'm down on the ground level, poking around, right? I look up. There's a hole in the ceiling. Okay. Much later on, you enter into a room, the chain link puzzle. After the chain link puzzle, you go up a couple of levels. And you enter into this room where the floor is broken, right? Again, another amazing example of atmosphere. You know, you're on this level where the floor is obviously broken. There's a couple of... some of the floor is intact, leading to all the doors, but basically it establishes a history of, okay, this place is old. It's really old. It's falling into disrepair. I love that kind of shit. But what does that reveal? You look down, and there's a big fucking hole, right? Now, you go through, you do a couple more puzzles. You don't want to jump down yet. Come on. But when you do jump down, what do you find? There you are, back in the main chamber. That big circle in the ceiling that you might have noticed earlier, that's not just a random design element. It's not just an aesthetic thing, you know, because whatever, you're in a volcano. It's assumed that there will be some kind of opening on the ceiling This is a core part of this fucking temple, is this verticality and how everything is vertically linked. How fucking outstanding is that? It's implemented mechanically as something necessary for game progression, but at the same time, it's a visually fantastic element that really blows you the fuck away. You know, it's so massive. The graphics are rendered so well. As you're looking up or down, there's that fogging, this fantastic effect that is reflecting a real life phenomenon that, you know, atmospheric perspective. That's what this game is doing. Atmospheric perspective in order to work with the flaws of the system. Only so much RAM, only being able to display so much. This is a beautiful creative solution. Now, you play through, you fall down, there you are. After you do that, you go through another puzzle room centered around this central chamber. You know that there's going to be some fucking treasure in this room. You just fought a mini-boss, right? You get in here, and this is a fucking opulent, grand room. You have this big revolving staircase leading up to what is obviously this sort of monumental, what's the word? Brazier of some kind. You know, you look across this massive platform, you see this beautiful, very particular looking fire or whatever. I don't know what the word is. There's a fucking word for this kind of shit. It's beautiful. You know immediately that you're about to get some fucking hammer action. So you click the switch down, you run up there, you get the hammer, lo and behold, blah, 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 and you start walking back. And that's when you realize, oh, wait a fucking second. This isn't just a really nice, cool looking revolving staircase. You look down, holy fucking shit. That fucking big ass circular tunnel goes up even fucking higher. Come the fuck on. You hop down if you want to. You're at a new area that you hadn't had access to before. You make the block disappear, whatever. You hit the rusty switch, that's great. You're back into the area of the central chamber. You gotta dodge some fires and shit like that. And here's another incredible moment of these fucking textures. We get these happy faces printed onto these blocks. And, you know, they're kind of goofy looking. It's your assumption that, again, this is probably something Goron related, right? Gorons are pretty happy creatures. Maybe this is an idealized version of what they look like. You look, I mean, what the fuck? Like, the 3D textures of this stuff, again, has its own, like, internal light source that still abides by some principle of, like, atmospheric clarity that you'd see in real life should this actually be there. And I'm not just talking about the features. The features of the face or whatever, the shading is amazing. But you look up and you realize, look at that. The very top block, one side is lit, the other side is dark. I have no idea where this light source is coming from, but it reads very believably and beautifully as well. And again, it's another one of these moments, small moments, where you're impacted by what they thought 3D looked like. And I've been talking about this a lot. I fucking adore what they thought 3D looked like. This heavily shaded, very smooth, contrasty, kind of dark light with interesting curvature. I don't know how to describe it, but it's polygonally inspired. And so you get this sense of this space not just being 3D, not just being blank, three-dimensional walls coated with textures, right? It's not just the place isn't made of building blocks. It's not just Legos with flat images pasted across it, like you would see in Hyrule Field, for instance, where, you know, you look up at some trees or whatever, and it's very clear how it's just like trees that are sort of pasted on, whatever. Or rock textures that are pasted on. Here, we have a genuine sense of three-dimensional space based on the quality of the two-dimensional flat textures that are pasted on all these things. It's incredible. It's incredible. I don't know if what I'm talking about follows. I'm getting carried away this time around. I'm realizing that this recording isn't very eloquent. But you know what? I don't give a shit. I don't give a rat's ass. Let the footage speak for itself. That's what I say. Let him eat cake. No, that's not where you use that. Anyway, all right, in the central chamber, you're looking at that beautiful texture of that guy spitting fire, and in that same room, you have a platform that you can hit with your fucking hammer. And where does that platform drop down to vertically? Another example of verticality, drops down into, wow, the boss room. Look at that. Hop right across there, enter the boss room, take one last look at this beautiful shading, and you go in and you fight the fucking boss. After you fight the boss is a little tricky. You're spat back out into the outside of the temple, into the Death Mountain crater. And here's one last little touch of this vertical precedent. You look up one last fucking time, even on the outside of the temple, and what do you see? Clear blue sky. And that, in my opinion, is the true reward of this temple. This is the only way this temple could have ended. Looking up one last time, and rather than seeing fiery rock and very hazy, heat stroke looking chambers, you see what your fucking hard work did. Ties it all back to the story. You killed the dragon who was about to eat all the Gorons. And that, by the way, is so funny. The Gorons, when you free them from their cells, they're all sitting in there like shaking. They're totally nervous. And when you talk to them, they say, oh, please, God, don't eat me. If you eat me, you're going to get a stomach ache. I promise you, you're going to get a stomach ache. And it's just like so fucking cute. Majora's Mask, of course, goes the other way, where it's very gloomy, very dark. Here, it's so fucking cute. And you see that and you're like, oh, I gotta save this guy. I have to save this guy. What a cute thing to say in the face of being fucking murdered, right? You save the Gorons, no one gets eaten, the dragon is dead, and that changes something in the world, Before you beat the temple, there's a big fiery sort of halo of death kind of thing floating around the mountain. And when you kill the boss, you come outside, that thing is lifted, you watch it go away, it's not cloudy anymore, and blue sky sets in. And it's a huge moment where not only is it rewarding on a story level, but it's rewarding on a mechanic level, where you're so used to looking up, and you look up one last time, there it is. They're rewarding this same sense of three-dimensional, first-person curiosity outside of the temple, just the same as they were doing on the inside. And honestly, look, you get the red tunic, that's fucking sick. You get the big Goron hammer or whatever. You're only going to use it that one time, let's be honest. But, still pretty cool. You got a new piece of heart. But all that cool shit that you gained cannot beat the reward of looking up and seeing that fucking clear blue sky. And that's what I love about this game. That's what I love about this temple. And that's what I cannot fucking wait for either tonight or tomorrow, whenever I get around to playing the water temple. Because that one's going to be a fucking doozy. All right? Everyone fucking hates that water temple. And look, I played the Stone Tower Temple. I have a feeling the Water Temple is going to be more of the same. I think I'm prepared for it. So we'll see. Anyway, okay, that's it. That's the Fire Temple. I don't know if I'll release this separately or just save it and put it together with a big video of all this shit. So, bye. All right, I just wrapped up the Water Temple. Okay, but initial impressions. For those of you who think this is the hardest temple, you are shit out of luck when you get to Stone Tower and Majora's Mask. This is fucking child's play compared to that temple. People's problem with this temple, it seems to me, given my own experience with it and my own problem with it that I had to overcome, is that I don't think the other two temples... now, they don't prepare you for the basic approach of this one, which isn't to say that they're not training you to be able to realize the approach to this one. All I'm saying is that you might realize the best approach when I did, which was like halfway through, as opposed to having a game plan from the get-go, which I guess is to be expected because you don't really know what to expect when you're playing this for the first time. But I feel like I could have picked up on it a little bit quicker. The pausing, the iron boot situation. I know a lot of people probably have a big problem with all the pausing you have to do because you gotta swap shoes a lot. Shoes are not mapped to the C-pad or the D-pad. Okay, so you gotta go into the menu every time, which again, if you've played Stone Tower, this is nothing. This is like the easiest on-off pause menu thing ever. And luckily, the pause menus are like so simple, so well organized. Somebody I like was talking about, in passing, more of a PS1 person, but talking about how when they're playing a game, like pause menus are super important to them because they have to do, it's like RPG shit, and you got to do a lot of shit on the pause menus. And the menus are like fucking encyclopedias, basically. So they got me thinking this time around. I'm like, yeah, we're pretty blessed with this pause menu, all things considered. Do I think boots could have been mapped to the D-pad? Absolutely. The same complaint stands true here, although to a much less significant degree, because it's really not as bad, I think, as people would have you imagine. Requires a little bit of patience, but so does the rest of the temple. So it's not pace breaking, because you're going at about the same pace anyway. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think it's something that I wish. In this, it's more understandable. In Majora's Mask with the transformation masks, it's unforgivable, I think. So yeah, the constant pausing is really so much less aggravating than I assumed it was going to be. Now, the difficulty of this temple, it's definitely the most difficult so far, but difficult is such a relative term. It does not mean it's really brain power taxing. If anything, I'd say this one is basically laid out for the first half, put you just in a rhythm. I really think the first half or so of this temple is you just solving medium difficulty puzzles. And it's really just about the fun of solving medium difficulty puzzles. And like I said, they're not taxing, so you can get through them about as quickly as anyone could be expected to. And that sets a pretty good pace that I think the temple pretty much maintains the whole time. Again, this is no Stone Tower. This does not require a lot of stopping, speculation, time-consuming plans. But, at the halfway point, you do need to start making plans. And by plans, I don't necessarily mean breaking down everywhere you've gone, this and that. I think you gotta approach it a little bit more simply. There's a lot of backtracking. It's the same with any temple. A lot of backtracking. And I'm breaking my habit, finally, of approaching these temples with the thought in mind that I need to memorize every room. I need to know where everything is, because replaying it is a waste of time. Replaying a room that you've already been in, again, even to no avail, even if it's a dead end, is never a waste of time, in my opinion. I think you're learning the layout, more time to spend looking at the atmosphere of things, which I'll get to later. And you know what? More often than not, and this game, Majora's Mask, both set a great precedent for this. More often than not, backtracking, doing a double take, going through the same rooms again, you're going to discover more stuff that you missed the first time, especially here. So I think that that's really cool. Now, the second half, it does get a little bit lengthier, because while the backtracking is never a waste of time, you're still doing a ton of it. I mean, you're doing a ton of it, which will then lead you to my realization that I mentioned earlier, that I could have had a better plan going forward. You know, I could have but yeah, there's a lot of backtracking. This teaches you just exactly how the water levels work in this temple, which is a mechanic that's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward, but still, you still need to learn it, which isn't to say that you don't understand it the first time you do it, but you know, when you realize I need to get back to that room on the second floor, what's the quickest way, what's the only way I can go about doing it, that's something you need to learn. You know, that's something you need to spend a little bit of time remembering how to do quickly. But all things considered, I think it's a pretty rewarding temple. It's not nearly as difficult as people make it out to be. Certainly the most challenging so far, but it's the middle temple. You know, you got two, you got this one, then you got another two coming up. And so this one, in my opinion, proves that you're not going to be disappointed by any of the temples. This one steps it up so much, reminds you that, okay, this is like a serious game you're playing. These are serious dungeons that have a lot of thought put into them, both in terms of the mechanics, the puzzles, the atmosphere especially. Only complaint that I can think of, and this goes for both games, and it's not temple specific, but I want to turn the fucking volume up on this game because the music is a little bit low. It's mixed a little low. But when you turn it up to the point where you can comfortably hear the music at a level where you can make out all the intricacies of it, the sound of the jumping, the hitting, the screen, like all the other sounds, the effects are so fucking loud. And there's no option, there's no internal volume options. You know, it's not like Perfect Dark where you can go and you can say, all right, volume up a little bit, sound effects down a little bit. There's no internal mixing, which is a bit of a detriment if you're not, if you're living in an apartment and you're playing late at night and the walls are a little thin. That's kind of a bummer. Not only that, the sound effects are gratingly loud when the volume is at a comfortable, when the music volume's at a comfortable level. So that's a little complaint that I have. But basically, this atmospherically compared to the other temples is the more ornate of the most ornate of the three. Forest Temple's sort of like almost kind of bookish. I don't know. It's like a fantasy level. You know, it's warm and there's fires. You get the sense of like being in a grand library kind of thing. It's a big haunted house. I'll have to go into that on its own. Fire Temple, like I mentioned, is underground. It's functional. It's like an older style of like worship or whatever. It's like I don't even know how I would compare it. I don't know enough about like real life religious or whatever architectural trends, but this one is definitely like further along in terms of time periods, I guess. Like Fire Temple is more rudimentary, and this one is like ornamental. You know, everything is super embellished, very beautiful. You almost, and I was thinking about this in regards to all the temples, I almost want to see, you know, I think the only way you're ever going to remake this game is not by just tossing it into 3D and doing the same thing. It's remastering these levels so that the textures are actually three-dimensional as opposed to two-dimensional. Because the depth of these, like, relief carvings would be so fascinating. You know, I almost would love to like build a model of how these temples would look in actuality, because the filigree is so phenomenal around the doors, around the columns. The lighting is incredible. Like I would love to see this in genuine 3D with all the details carved out, because it's so intricate. It is so fascinating. The closest thing I could compare it to would be, God, I'm going to fuck this whole thing up. And on the ceiling, there's certain temples. They have it at the Met. You look up, and rather than like a cupola or whatever the fuck it's called, like in a Catholic church, like a smooth dome, you basically have like a mandala-looking dome that's really intricately carved. If anyone knows the name of it, I'll have to find some pictures. But this is the impression you get. Like, it's that level of geometry. But definitely not like Egyptian. Like an Egyptian temple typically has wall paintings, like flat wall paintings, whereas the temples I'm talking about are actual relief carvings. Similar to like the pediment or whatever the fuck it's, the triangle thing on like the Parthenon or whatever, how those figures are carved into it. What is that? Bas relief? Bas relief? Low relief? I think it's bas relief. I think that's the deep one, and low relief is like low relief. But I should post some pictures so that you get a sense of what these things are hearkening to in literal three-dimensional terms rather than textural terms. But yeah, this one's beautiful. The lighting is incredible. All the beautiful purple, super rich. Yeah, it's definitely the most stunning. Like if I had to choose what my apartment would look like, for instance, I'd go with this. And of course, it's reflective of the race of people. Like the Zoras are very sleek, very sort of, they're like elves almost, whereas the Gorons are kind of like the dwarves. If that paints any kind of picture, where one is like, you know, beautiful, light, airy sort of architecture, very, again, ornate. The other is sort of like a little grimier, a little stronger, a little more rock-oriented, I guess, a little bit bulkier. And again, Forest Temple is like, it looks like a scholar's home almost, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'm fucking psyched. I'm psyched for the Shadow Temple. I cannot fucking wait for that. I'm worried I'm going to be disappointed by it because I'm hyping it up so much. Another incredible thing. The fogging again. The fogging is super well put in place. Like underwater, of course, you would have like atmospheric fogging underwater, looking at something from you in a swimming pool, you look across the pool, it's sort of dim on the other side. You swim over there, you can see it clearly. You turn around, the other side looks dim. They took the limitations of this fucking system, and rather than perfect dark, for instance, where no fogging at all, everything is crystal clear, to the detriment of the fucking frame rate, and to the detriment of like how space actually looks. You know, Zelda took this thing, that like atmospheric perspective that we see on a daily basis, but to such a small degree, you know. Looking at the other side of the park, it's blurry just because of your eyesight's generally not, you know, like a bird. You can't see that far. So things naturally have a blurred look. Zelda capitalizes on this for system-saving reasons, and it works to great effect. I'm, again, just tremendously blown away by how beautiful this looks. Also, the blue tunic is definitely Link's best look. It's always been my favorite look. Once I get the blue tunic, I typically only wear that one for the rest of the game. I'll swap back and forth, but they all look so good. His character, oh my god, when he's swimming, it's just like, fucking hell. The way these games look, incredible. It's a shame that, in my opinion, that GameCube didn't like push this style to all it could have been, and instead did cartoon look and then like hot anime look. You know, I wish they stuck with like doing polygon shit the best they could. Like when you see an ad for a GameCube game or something, or you look at the artwork for Melee of Link and it's all polygonal, that's what I wanted to see. That's what I would love to have seen on the GameCube. What else? The Water Temple. Wow, the final boss isn't isn't that impressive, in my opinion. This temple still has one of the great boss fights in the game. This one, or Majora's Mask, is the when you're fighting Shadow Link. That, just the room itself, with the reflection in the water, you run across the room. You kind of walk, you walk around, you explore. You run across the room, and suddenly you're like, oh wait, my reflection's not underneath me anymore. That is such a fucking cool boss fight. Now, admittedly, I had to use the Bigoron sword to complete this one. I don't know. Whenever I used the normal sword, the Master Sword, he kept fucking jumping on top of it. He bested me. I was unable to conquer myself except through extraneous means. But goddamn, that is a cool boss fight. Now, another thing I wanted to get into is, Jack, why are you filming the TV rather than you have a capture card? You captured Diddy Kong Racing with your capture card. Why aren't you using that, Jack? Plain and simple, because it looks like shit. It's cleaner. I admit that. It looks cleaner. I did a side-by-side comparison. I'm not going to include it here because some of you people, and you know who you are. I'm just kidding. Nobody watches this. Some people might. It looks cleaner. It's cleaner. It's a cleaner look. But it doesn't do anything to actually capture what I'm seeing when I'm playing it. It's weird. It looks weird. It bears very little resemblance to what I'm filming, and so me filming the TV is a lot closer to what I'm actually seeing than the digital, cleaner looking copy of it. And in order to make some of the points I'm trying to make, I need the best picture possible, and that just so happens to be by filming it with my cell phone. You know what? And there's another complaint I had about this temple, is that fucking room with all the whirlpools. That was such a pain in the ass. That was the only kind of cheap thing. It wasn't even cheap. By the end, I realized it was just me being a complete dumbass. But, the rest of the temple would have you kind of eschew. What does that word mean? That you need to be wearing, assume, is what I assume the word eschew means. Whatever. You'd need to be wearing the iron boots. And that just makes it 10 times worse. Little taken aback by that. Not really. But in hindsight, this temple's one of the best. I looked through the recording, and it took me like 2 or 3 hours almost. And now that's what I call a good fucking temple. That's a good length. You can really sink your teeth into something like that. Okay. I think that's it. Well, I just finished the Shadow Temple. And I figured because it was so disappointingly short, I might as well record this now rather than waiting. Well, you know what? We'll just start with that. This temple is way too fucking short. That took me like 30 fucking minutes. Are you kidding me? Not only is it built short, there's just less there. You're also given the hover boots, which is a mechanic that I remember not liking, but for this temple it's great. So this is a good gameplay thing too. So you get the hover boots basically, which makes you able to hover over, bottomless pits for like 3 seconds. So it basically extends your run. You don't hover indefinitely, you'll fall eventually. It extends your run. Which in any other, it's walking on ice basically. when I was playing the ice dungeon, running across ice, that's what you slip and slide. It's the same shit. But this temple's built for that. You know, you're not about to fall into water. And when you do slide off the side of something, you're wearing fucking hover boots. So just hurry back over there. You're going to be hovering for a few seconds. This I liked because there are the big main room where you can kind of... I'll get back to the big main room. But the big main room is basically a huge, expansive thing with all sorts of different areas, different platforms. It's kind of like a carnival sort of thing. With these hover boots, you can run from one end to the other because there's all these platforms, there's all these, it's basically a room of torture equipment and like hellish sort of challenges. You know, and you can survey the expanse of this temple and you can see, okay, I got to go through that first. Then I'm up against this big, razor blade thing. Then I'm up against this bottomless pit. So it lays all these great things out, and you can see throughout the entirety of it, so you know what you have to look forward to and what you've got to prepare for, basically. Which I like, because it goes from good to bad to worse. You know, you run in, there's these big razor blades falling down, and it's easy enough to get through them, but then you kind of realize, after that, it's not difficult, actually. No, it's easy the whole way around. But there's just different challenges at every corner of the room. And you can pretty much bypass these challenges by equipping your hover boots and running across the entire thing. You don't need to put the lens of truth on because you already know where these invisible blocks are that you've got to hit. And you can basically cruise through the whole thing in one fell swoop. You know, all the timing. From the time you exit any one of the doors in that room... it seems to me that all of the time-based shit, like the razor blade falling down, the big block hovering right across the spot where you need it to be in order to jump on it, it's all timed so that you can basically run without stopping and avoid everything, which is fun. Do I like it? From a gameplay point of view, yeah, it's fun to do. You know, it's a little bit. It feels good, it's got a little rhythm to it. It's interesting. I don't like it because at certain places you're unable to stop and look around, basically, unless you're doing it from one of the doors. Which, you know what, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. I'm just being particular, wherein I would like to be able to stop in the middle of the most dangerous spot and look around, just for the sake of doing it. So I realize that's not really a valid complaint. But you can run across really quickly, which is great. But to tie this back to my main point, you run across quickly. You're moving through the temple quickly, which would be fine if the temple was a bit longer. That's not to say it's not long enough, because they tried something here, which was in order to access the temple, basically, you have to get the lens of truth, which reveals hidden things that you couldn't see before. I had a bit about this in my Majora's Mask video, once that gets up. I like this thing. I think it's cool. I like the idea of hiding things and then they're uninvisible anymore and they pop up. They're visible, I think that's fun, and I think it's cool on this system because it's got an interesting look to it. Okay, but you got to get that. And in order to get that, you have to go beneath the well as a child. You got to go back in time and go underneath the well. So you got a mini dungeon as a kid. And the mini dungeon's pretty great. I was a big fan of this because you can run in, you got to get a couple keys or whatever. You can grab the lens of truth and you can run out. It could take you like 15 fucking minutes. Kind of like this temple. But what's fun about it is that there are some hidden treasures. Not good treasure. It's like coins or whatever. My wallet is maxed out anyway. I don't even need the fucking coins. But, I wanted to find these hidden treasures because they were kind of difficult to find. And it taught you some of the things you're going to be using in the Shadow Temple itself. The main one is the bombable areas. You got to hit your sword against the wall, and you hear a different tinging sound that you hear in the fire temple. And I'm happy they brought this back. I'm happy that, because every now and then I think to myself, I should fucking hit that wall, and I do. And 9 times out of 10, I've been right. So I love that mechanic is carrying over from the fire temple to here. I think that's a lot of fun. Beneath the well, that's one of the things. One of the tips you kind of learn for this level. The next one is bombable spots, and there's only like 3 of them, but the most difficult chest for me to find was beneath one of these bombable spots. And they're not marked as clearly as they could be, which is great, which is fun, because it's not just an X on the wall. I actually really had to look for this, and it was a pretty fun challenge. It was only included 1 time in the Shadow Temple, and hitting the wall in order to find the bombable area of wall only happened 1 time in the Shadow Temple. The whole thing was basically the gimmick of using the lens of truth to see openings in walls that you couldn't before, which was a little bit disappointing. The lens of truth, I don't think was utilized very well here. For me, it was more of a pain in the ass than anything else. It was like, okay, so there's some invisible blocks here. There was, I don't know, it was sort of rare. There was one instance, probably my favorite room, that they used it to great effect. Wherein it was a crucial piece to a puzzle. But in most of the other rooms, like, okay, the boss room, for instance, like leading up to the boss door, big, expansive, bottomless pit. Then you look across, you see the boss door, and you're like, how do I get across? Let me guess, fucking lens of truth. Put the lens of truth on, and it's just like a couple platforms you hop across. It's not even like dangerous platforms to hop across. So I'm like, well, what's the only difference here is an aesthetic difference, really. Because hopping across these platforms isn't challenging enough to warrant having to hop across the platforms. They're not spinning, they're not ice, there's no weapons, there's nothing dangerous about it. So I'm like, look, I'd rather just walk across the platform. Gameplay-wise, now that I'm thinking about it, the aesthetic, and I think that's, like, I mentioned this when I introduced this item. The main draw to it is not gameplay related. It's aesthetic related. The visuals of you standing over a bottomless pit with nothing beneath you before you turn the lens of truth on to reveal a floating block. That kind of imagery is really cool. A lot of the invisible shit appearing, like in the boss room, is pretty cool. It looks great, and it's a good-looking temple. I think this is probably the one I was least impressed with texture-wise, because there was no real light sources I noticed, or not as prominent as they have been in other temples, and it was mainly like making the rocks look gross, which is cool. It does look gross. It's a spooky temple. And they have a lot of like skull textures and that kind of thing. But I'm not that impressed with them. I don't think the lighting is, I'm not buying it, basically, from a lighting standpoint. From like a 3D kind of illustrative, painterly source of light, I don't think it was working. In terms of the color, yeah, it's fucking creepy as hell. There's blood everywhere. I mean, come on. It's bloody and it's green and it's got the color's so nasty. You're like in toxic atmosphere down there, which is cool. The color palette for this temple is basically like brown, black, purple, and green. And I love it. I think it works so well. Like visually, it's not as atmospheric as you would think. It's like a horror temple. It should be very like palpably atmospheric. But it's not nearly as hypnotic as the other ones. It's more like, it's fun. I think it's like, it's sort of a haunted house kind of thing, right? Whereas the Forest Temple is like a haunted house. You get a sense of like heavy atmosphere, heavy ghost-like atmosphere. Here, it's a haunted house in terms of like the kitschiness, where it's like, gotcha, things popping out and very consciously like grotesque kind of imagery, like skulls and zombies and shit, and a lot of graves. And so it's fun for that reason. It's like an amusement park kind of scary. And for that reason, I don't think it gets as brooding as it could have been. You know, frankly, I was expecting something, not really, but you know, something a little bit more in the Silent Hill direction, where it's like tense. I think that's what was lacking from this temple, is that it wasn't very tense. You know, and they're going this horror angle, you know, but they don't quite sell it. You know, there's a couple of tense moments where there's enemies that you can't see hanging above you, like mainly the Skulltulas and the re-dead hands or whatever. And that's fun, you know, when you get a little bit of a shock like that. And that happens underneath the well, too. There's a bit of a shock when the big guy circling the premises bumps into you. And I like that because, you know, there's a couple of, you know, it's a horror temple. There's a couple of genuine instances of being a little bit jump scared. I expected a little bit more of that. And not from enemies that do that anyway. You know, like in all the other temples, they do the same thing. You know, they come down, they sort of spook you a little bit because they're above you. You know, you don't see them. And to this one's credit, it makes them invisible. Or you can't, I don't know, I couldn't see them. But it's still using those same characters. So, not as spooky as it could have been, but it's using its own mechanics that are established in other temples to still add to the mood, right? It's still scary when these things fall down on you. It just wasn't pushed here, which again was a little disappointing. There's a couple of cool moments where you walk into a room, you can't see anything, you put the lens of truth on, there's a big Grim Reaper sort of slashing his scythe at you, you know, the big turning fan-like thing. I like that. But they used that weapon like more than once in the temple. So it loses its effect the second time you see it. I'm like, come on. What else do you guys have? And there's just such a vast number of these dungeons where it's like you walk in, it's a small room, there's a couple of enemies, you gotta kill them, and then you get a chest, which usually has like $5 you know. The $5 chests, that's this Stone Tower blue balls I was talking about in the Majora's Mask video. I mean, it's just, come on, give me the fucking key. I like when the key falls out of the thing you blow up in the middle of the room, and you don't get a key out of a chest. It's kind of fun. It's a little bit tricky, this temple. You know, it does a couple of fast ones where these things that you expect to happen don't necessarily happen. And it kind of gave me blue balls a little bit. It wasn't like pushed to an extreme. You know, it wasn't extreme enough for me. I think this temple was sort of built based on the fact that you have a child component and an adult component. And I think beyond that, that's kind of it. You know, I should have played this in one night. You know, after Majora's Mask, there's always like a mini dungeon section before. Well, no, there's not always a mini dungeon section. But think of Great Bay Temple. Yeah, there's a mini dungeon section where you're fucking around with pirates beforehand, and you couldn't do that in one playthrough. Like once you're done with that, you're like, okay, I got to save, restart, go to the Great Bay Temple, because you wouldn't have time. So I'm thinking the same thing with this one. I'm like, well, it's a mini dungeon. It's gonna take me like, 45 fucking minutes. I'll do that, and then I'll do the rest of the temple later. Great Bay, just because it has a mini dungeon, doesn't skimp on the amount of content in that temple. The mini dungeon is an addition. It's 125% of what this whole Great Bay area could have been. Here, it's like, okay, Under the Well as a kid is like 35%, and no, let's say 40%. Because I literally can't do math. I'm horrible at math. 35, 65, is that what you would add to it? I have no fucking idea. God damn it, I'm stupid. But Under the Graveyard is like 40% or 30%. And the Shadow Temple is like 60 or 70%, you know. It's, one half of it banks on you playing the other half of it immediately, which I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have expected that, because even in Ocarina of Time... Happy 4th of July, everybody, by the way. I realize that there was fireworks exploding outside. They were pretty great. I took a walk around the block tonight and got a free fireworks show everywhere. It was great. Good weather, too. Yeah, anyway, yeah, you would never expect it to be divided in two, but still sort of like 60-40, because the water temple plus the ice cavern, which is the mini dungeon before the water temple, I would say 115%. You know, ice cavern is pretty fucking easy, and underneath the graveyard's a little bit more involved. But that doesn't mean they slouched on the water temple, you know. So it was weird. It was weird. It went way too quickly. And then what really got me was I couldn't even 100% it. I couldn't even get that last Skulltula, because how else are you going to get to that thing up there? Other than running and jumping off the boat, which you can't do because there's a fucking cutscene. So I'm like, now I got to ask the question, like, fuck, I was pretty much on track to have all these Skulltulas so I could then get all the heart pieces later. And, when you have to go back through a temple, like the Don Garo side quest or in Majora's Mask or the fairies or whatever, it's a pain in the ass. Although this time around, the temples don't reset, so I'm sure it'll actually be easier now that I think of that. But it was a little bit disappointing that I couldn't. I had no chance to go back. Once you're on the boat, you're on the boat. You're going to the boss room. There's no going back. And I don't know. They don't really establish that in any of the other ones, which is fine. I'm cool with it establishing new shit, I'm all for that. But when it's something that's not mechanic related, I guess, and it's more like, oh, now you got to go back through it to get this. When it's like not adding enough, but only adding like a fetch quest element without anything gameplay interesting or interesting to the temple itself, I guess, I get a little bit disappointed by it. I don't mind. I'll go back. It'll be easy enough. I already told you, this temple's a quick one. You're going to breeze through it. So going back through a temple that's already unlocked, who knows? Maybe it's designed to be gone through more than once. Maybe that could be it. Maybe my opinion of it will be totally changed when I go and explore it on my own, which is sort of what you do underneath the well. Like I was saying earlier, you can get a couple of chests if you want to, but the second you get the main item under the well, you can leave. So it sort of opens it up to going back if you wanted to. It's not quite definitive. There's no boss. I will never go back to the other temples. Other than for the potential of like footage purposes for the fucking forest temples, since I didn't take any. But I'm pretty sure I got everything. I would never go back unless I was trying to get all the gold Skulltulas, and I realized I was missing some. But even then, I'd be fucking hard pressed. I finished this game 2 times in my life, and both times I've always been missing one piece of heart, and both times I'm pretty sure it's been these fucking Skulltulas. So we'll see. Now, this has the best boss. This boss, Phantom Ganon is great. I think that's a cool one. Volvagia, the dragon, uninteresting. Fun fight, uninteresting boss. The Aquafina thing, whatever the blob is, the water guy, Morpheus. Fun enough fight, boring boss. Totally uninteresting. There's no lore behind a fucking blob of water. There's no lore, maybe behind the dragon, but I don't give a shit about dragon. It's not conscious. It's like a dog. But this guy, Bongo, it's like, what the fuck is this thing? You land in the center of a massive bongo, and they pulled the Nintendo thing that they do in like every single Nintendo game for some reason. It's kind of cool, I guess. Is you're fighting 2 big fists. You got Master Hand or whatever. Pretty sure this comes back in like every other fucking Zelda game after it. Mario, I know in one of the Mario games I played, you fight 2 fists. It's a cool-ass boss. I wonder where it started. I wonder if it's in A Link to the Past. Who knows? It's an interesting trend. Anyway, you're fighting one of those guys. But he's also got a body, you know, and the body is like this creepy plant-like figure that I totally forgot about until I was playing it today. I was like, oh wait, this boss is like fucking sick. You know, he's got these big, muscular, sinewy arms, but they're disconnected from his head and his torso. And he's kind of like a plant-like looking creature. You don't know what he is. There's like tissue and muscle, but it's also kind of, he looks like a root maybe, which sort of follows considering you're deep underground. And he's got those French fry fingers, those crinkle cut fingers. But he starts playing the drums. He's like bang, 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 bang. So there's this great, creepy tom-tom rhythm to it. And you can hear him chanting. That's what fucking got me. I love it when they do this shit. They do it a lot in Majora's Mask. All sorts of creepy chanting coming from these guys. And I love it here because it's layered way far beneath, not way far, but it's layered beneath the banging of the tom-tom and whatever other music is playing. And so you don't necessarily notice it immediately, but you pick up on it. And it's this lovely, stupefying sort of drone. And I love it when they do this. I love it when they go all out, you know, when they really lean into sort of the theme behind a boss. Like Goat in the Stone Tower Temple in Majora's Mask. You enter in, it's a mechanical bull. And it's a circular, like, racetrack kind of thing, which ties in with the Gorons, they race. But it's got all these, like, flags and banners sort of spanning at least the entrance of the circle. And so you get the sense that you're in an arena with this mechanical bull. And it's those kind of elements that I really like. You know, you're in an arena with, oh my God, you're in an arena with a mechanical bull. You feel like you're at a racetrack because of all these flags. You're on top of a bongo with this guy. He's playing the drums. You're getting the sound of chanting, which adds to the fact that he's performing, basically. So you're fighting amidst this performance, which adds that same sort of racetrack sprinkling of atmosphere to the fight. And I love that. I really love that. When there's sort of you can read into it. There's a bit of a story there, whether or not you choose to believe it. And that's really cool. Now, here's the problem. Look, I got the Bigoron sword, okay? I didn't work hard to get it, but, you know, it's a fucking OP weapon. I like using it because I have it. You know, I fucking unlocked it, so I should be able to use it. The only problem is that it's making everything so fucking easy combat-wise, and I kind of enjoyed it with the Master Sword, where I had a greater chance of dying and I had to perform with a little more finesse. So, I don't know, I feel kind of bad about using it. But at the end of the day, my primary interest when playing these games isn't the combat. But the problem is that although it's not my primary interest, I'm like, you know what? I'm still kind of interested in it. You know, I'd still like to learn more about the combat in this game. So I feel like I shouldn't be playing with the OP weapon. So I'm going to take that into consideration for the Spirit Temple, which is up next. And this one's got quite a build-up, too. And I remember this one so vaguely. You know, I always thought that I remembered the Shadow Temple very vaguely, because I'm like, I only remember like 5 or 6 rooms, you know. I remember it being, you know, not much there. Which I assumed in memory was me forgetting significant portions of the temple. But in actuality, playing through it, I'm like, oh wait, I remember every single fucking room of this temple. So again, further proof of how short this goddamn temple really is. It was fun. It was fun. I liked it a lot. I think it's a good addition. It's a good 4th temple, you know. If I was going to have to sneak a shitty temple in somewhere, it would be the 4th one. You don't want to be in the second one. Definitely not the first. The third has got to be strong because that's sort of that's the rhythm guitar of your game. That's the third one out of 5 is the one pushing the momentum along. It's got to continue that momentum. Fifth one's got to end pretty strong. But the fourth one, you can have a little dip there. You can have a little dip so long as the third and fifth are great. So I'm expecting big, big things from the Spirit Temple. And not just the side quest, or the mini dungeon period, whatever. This one's got a pretty significant one. I remember having a lot of trouble leading up to it, so I think I'm going to play it 2 nights, probably. Fuck, Mo, that hurts, buddy. I'm probably going to do it 2 nights and approach it, the whole thing as a temple, basically. Because if there's one thing I learned from this, is that I should have approached Under the Graveyard as its own temple. There is a portion of this temple. I played it in the middle of the day, recreationally. I just kind of knocked it out. I didn't realize that it was going to be such a significant piece to this. Okay, bye. Okay. You know what I just finished playing over the course of the week? I hope that the fucking thing picks me up. I gotta talk about this before I forget. I finished it today. I started it a few days ago. The Spirit Temple. And that one's a fucking dud. Whoa, that one is a fucking dud. I don't care what you say. That was an embarrassment. That was an absolute embarrassment of a temple. No wonder they kept it last. Because it's like, okay, just get through it. The end of the game is coming up. No wonder they kept it last. And they were the first temple. You would have been so fucking pissed off. That one was bad. And you know what? It makes me rethink the Shadow Temple. Shadow Temple? Pretty fucking good. And not just by comparison. I really gave it some more thought after talking about it. That one is so much fun. That one is just like a fast-paced, solid, like action temple. There's not that much problem solving. It's just like constantly moving, constantly fun. That one, fucking awesome. Spirit Temple is like, I feel like it's literally like leftovers all put together. Dude, there are assets from the water temple in here. In the middle of the desert, there's an ice challenge. Dude, the Gerudo Trading Grounds is a better temple. I think that is what this one should have been. Which was like the cages and all the different trials. That one, that's the temple. That's the fucking... I feel like every other side mission in the Gerudo Desert is... as the sum of its parts, everything together minus the temple, far and away better than the temple itself. I'm talking about everything even remotely related to the Gerudo Desert. I'm talking about having to go talk to the carpenters to get the Bigoron sword. I'm talking about having to save the carpenters to get into the desert, doing the whole thieves hideout bit, having to... starting in that tent for the race with the bunny hood guy, the really fast guy, and all the heart pieces too, hidden behind the waterfall down there with the woman milking the goat. The fact that this big ass waterfall leads you into Lake Hylia, everything about the adventure surrounding getting to that temple is better than the temple itself, in my opinion. I think the child bit is interesting. Because in playing it, it's kind of nice, it's a circular dungeon, so you make your way around one time and then you go up through the center of it. That's cool layout, I like that a lot. No, you don't go up through the center of it. Don't you? No, you don't. You actually don't. Okay, forget, I'm going to have to cut that. But in any case, there's some aspect of circular design there where... You start by going through the left-hand door out of a choice between left and right. You go into the left-hand door, you exit through the right-hand door. So you do a loop at one point, which was fun. But the rest of the temple was so boring. I thought some of the puzzles were like... Okay, so the puzzle where there's the blue pressure plate in the middle of the room. You know, the only way to get a blue pressure plate to stay down is by putting something permanent on it. It doesn't just stay in place once you step on it. You step on it, it goes down. You step off of it, and it goes back up. You need something holding it down. And the only thing you can do is hit those statues that, you know, chase you around and explode. Hurry over to the door and hope that before the statue explodes, it'll happen to step on the switch long enough for you to make it through the door, you know. It's not a static puzzle. It's like you have to do it enough times and eventually it happens. So while you know it's going to happen, it's still in theory luck-based. You know, feasibly, you could be doing it for hours. I don't think that would ever happen, but feasibly, it's luck-based. And it's like, it's so underdeveloped, you know. I kind of like the idea of certain puzzles being luck-based, but I don't like the idea of it being the one and only example in a game that never, ever does that, and happening in a room right next door to a room that has assets from a different temple inside. You know what I mean? It seems like this weird clusterfuck of ideas. And every room is so pitifully easy. You know, if you're not like bombing the eye thingies, which is easy enough. Oh my God, the room where you have to climb to the top of the moving walls, and you can just hook shot to the top and avoid everything, that's the same room as this water temple asset. And it's like, you can what do you mean? You can just skip the entirety of a puzzle? Think back to the fire temple, that chain link room. You know, you're going back and forth in there multiple times wondering, what the fuck do I do? Nothing is really telegraphed to you. Yet here, you can basically cheat it. It's like the most disappointing sense of like, oh, really? That worked? I was operating on my laziest conjecture. I'm like, oh, who knows? Whatever. Maybe this will work. The most simplistic, easiest, most basic solution, you know, which would be like stage 1 of any other temple is testing the stupid stuff, right? And then you're like, okay, that obviously doesn't work. Let's think a little bit harder about this. In this temple, all of your dumbest impulses are rewarded. Every dumb impulse I had was like, oh, that's correct. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do. Aside from, the only thing that gave me trouble was at the end, where you need to lower that platform, have the light hit off of the mirror down onto said platform to then reflect into the face of the statue. Now, I did the whole thing. The only way to lower that platform is to have the sun reflecting on that platform. I did this. And then I was too stupid to figure out that puzzle immediately. So I went into a couple different rooms thinking, okay, well, what's the solution here? I came back, and I'm still like, okay, what the fuck is the solution here? And then I realized, by going back to the room where I had to turn all those fucking mirrors, that it had reset itself.
What the fuck? How did it move back?
It reset itself. Now, me being too dumb to pick up on it on the first go-around is acceptable. Because in theory, I should come and rediscover the fact that I had moved those mirrors in the first place. Because up until this point, nothing resets. No puzzles like really reset. Enemies reset, but significant puzzles do not reset. Here I was, discovering that, no, this significant puzzle did fucking reset. I had assumed that it was really, really fucking stupid, because it's breaking its own rules, but in a way that almost seems like it's failing, as opposed to purposely giving you a challenge, purposely defying expectations. It seems like a flaw almost. Whereas in the Shadow Temple, a great example of something going against expectation is the keys not being in chests. Instead, every chest you open is basically money, and the keys come from other sources. That is playing with expectation, not resetting a room after you leave. That's supposed to be part of like the most basic layer of gameplay. If you need to break some jars, get some health, you don't have quite enough, you leave, and the jars reset. You leave, the enemies reset. But the puzzles do not reset. So I was really, really confused and sort of disappointed when that happened. Because it's so illogical. It's almost a point where it's broken. It's sort of broken. It's really kind of fucked up. Now, in addition to that, I gotta say that I'm the least impressed visually with this temple. Okay, so the concept is like it's a sand-stripped temple in the middle of the desert. You know, it's I would say the most blatantly like religious of all of them, because it's like there's a deity on the front wall. There's a deity inside, very big. There's hieroglyphics everywhere, basically. A lot of symbolic imagery, like the crescent moon, snakes, you know. So it's interesting in that regard, in that it sells itself pretty well as like as something equivalent to an Egyptian temple. What was the point, you know? What was the point in burying rulers? You know, it was always for an expressly religious. Not expressly religious, but religion was always a crucial part of it, despite the fact that religion then crossed over into politics. You know what I mean? It's a temple that really sells itself as belonging to the world of temples, basically, you know, which I like. You think about the Great Bay Temple. Like, that's not a temple, you know, Majora's Mask. It's not a temple. It's not a center of worship, you know. I mean, in terms of the story, yes, that's what they claim it is. But when you're actually playing it, like in that game, they're not selling the idea. It's a dungeon, you know. It's a heavily atmospheric dungeon, but it's a dungeon. It's not a heavily atmospheric place of worship or whatever. And so the spirit, it's called the fucking Spirit Temple. That should tell you enough. So I like that. Now, in terms of the look, it's you know, it's like sandstone or whatever. It's very much rock that's been it's brown rock. It's sort of stripped by the sand. The details are all in place, but there's just not enough detail, and the lighting is bad. That was my number one problem. You know, I think when the lighting is good, it's good. In the iron knuckle rooms, those look great. In the hallways with the candelabras, those look great. Some of the areas with sunlight are pretty cool. You know, when you exit out into either side of the statue up top, on the outside of the fucking temple, you know, that's where you get both pieces of treasure, both while you're playing as a child and an adult. And it's a dark temple, so when you see the sunlight from outside bursting through one of the holes in the wall or through these doorways, it's a pretty cool feeling. You know, I think that's some really well-used light, because light is then a source of relief. You're like, oh my God, that's great. And both times, light shines in through a doorway specifically. Only 2 times does it ever come in through a doorway. Those are the 2 occasions where you get treasure. And the treasure's pretty fucking cool, you know. It's not just a weapon. You're getting the mirror shield, which is an aesthetic upgrade to the game, in my opinion. And you're getting the iron gauntlets, silver gauntlets, which again is an aesthetic upgrade to the game. You're not getting a weapon. You're getting shit that you wear around. So now you're getting the shit that makes your character look different. And that is fucking such a good feeling, because now you're like, I fucking played to the end of this game, you know. Link is ripped. He's got the coolest shit on, you know. And that's a fucking great feeling. Like this, like not just the feeling of being at the end of the game, but the look of being at the end of the game. It's really, really cool. So I love that that's tied with this sort of release from this dark, damp underground temple. Now, it's my primary critique with the temple, is that a lot of it is really dark, which I think could have worked. I think, all the big interiors, it's pretty realistic. If you were to be inside of a stone temple in the middle of the desert with no light sources, it would be dark. It would be really gloomy inside, and it would be totally in shadow. And there's a lot of shadow here, but my only problem is that they colored it purple. They gave it a purple color. Now, aesthetically, all the rocks are orange. The temple is mainly covered with an orange, rusty kind of color palette. On paper, rust-colored and purple, like a dark purple, go together really well. So from a purely theoretical point of view, yeah, it's working really well. Like the colors they chose, rust-colored, like this dark orange, plus red, plus, the red of the carpets, of course, plus this dark purple shadowing. It looks good. It's aesthetically pretty nice. My only problem is that it's overwhelmingly purple. It's almost like it's a little too misty in my opinion. Now, of course, the footage isn't going to show it. It'll just look black mainly, but I would have preferred that it be black, to add that. The purple adds this sort of fantasy element to it, and I think in my own preference, if you're going to sell a temple underground, like a decaying, abandoned temple in the middle of the desert underground, it's got to be black. It has to have that level of not disrepair, but of disuse to it. And the purple almost, it's almost too lively for me. I feel like that color choice breathes too much life into this place that otherwise I think should be kind of dead in a way. Because the other ones are so true to their environment. Like the fire temple is so true to an underground cavern, to the point where the screen is shaking given the heat. The water temple, it has this blue fogging underwater and this kind of mist, watery kind of mist rising up throughout the rest of the dungeon. Shadow Temple is green. Shadow Temple makes sense. It looks fucking moldy. But this one is almost a little too fantastic, which I'm not saying is bad. I don't think it's bad. I'm saying it doesn't work in the context of everything else they built up surrounding it. So I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's interesting. I think in a lot of ways it is really pretty, but I think it's in stark contrast to the other temples, and I think the fact that it's not very well designed doesn't help either. Soundtrack is great. And the ending boss is fucking fun. The ending boss is so awesome. The room itself is incredible. I think it's probably some of the best lighting in the game is when you're running around the bottom of this platform before you climb up. The lighting is incredible. I thought that was I don't know. It was working. Maybe because it was a boss room. I don't know. But basically you get up top. There's these two old witches, these twin witches. And, you use your shield to defeat them. You have to, one of them is a fire witch. The other one is an ice witch. You use your mirror shield to deflect the ice onto the fire person, the fire onto the ice person. It's a really cool fucking boss fight. It's not hard. It's definitely not the hardest, but it's definitely the most spectacular because it's all about the production of it, It's not about the gameplay. It's all about, look at this. Isn't this like a great looking fight? Isn't this aesthetically like a smart idea for a fight? And it is, and that's only further proven when the two old hags, as they're called, at least in Majora's Mask. I don't think they call them the hags here, but when those two form together into like a hot lady and the hot lady winks at you, it's like such a fun moment, because it's like these two old hags, and they turn into this beautiful sort of vixen-looking creature, I guess. Winks at you, then you're like, oh my god, she's not old anymore. You know, it's just this fun sort of transition that reflects itself really well in the gameplay. Because then, of course, the fire and ice aspect of what you were doing earlier becomes a little bit more complex, but you don't have to use any weapons. All you use is the shield you found in this temple. And it's cool. It's like such a good-looking boss fight, you know. It's really, really exciting, and even though it's not that challenging, you get such a good fix of, I mean, even right before the boss fight, you do an iron knuckle battle, but there are 3 iron knuckle battles in this temple, and I think this is the only iron knuckle battle in the game. I don't think it happens anywhere else. Although in Majora's Mask, there's a couple of them, and I always loved them. I always thought that these were such good mini-bosses. Because there's 2 phases, they're really powerful when they hit you. It's a little bit challenging, but it's fun. And they did it 3 times here. The enemies, or the Knuckles in this game look incredible. They're wearing that, what I've never recognized before, but the Gerudo kind of garb. Like, they all wear the same shit Ganondorf wears at the end, which is this sort of desert-colored, it's desert-colored armor where it's black, it's red, it's this turquoise green, it's like an olive green. It's a really good color combination because it's not inherently gross, but when they're using it in terms of the villains, it works because it's not, there's no organic colors there. And so it's interesting. It's an interesting color palette for that express reason. And these Iron Knuckles have it. And so you get, it's a good temple for battles. I think you have a lot of fun fights in this temple. I think it's a shame that the temple design itself, frankly, sucks. And you can't help it. You can't help it. It's a dud. That's it. I think it's sloppy. It relies too much on what Shadow Temple, now that I'm remembering, did really well, which is the child-adult aspects of it, which is fucking well done, okay, in the Shadow Temple. I was wrong. I was wrong about saying that it added to 100% of a temple, and it was as satisfying, I guess. I don't think they skimped on anything in the Shadow Temple, and although I said that, I take it back. I've learned since. I don't agree with that opinion anymore. I think had I played it all at once, I would have gotten the bigger picture, and I really liked that. Here, I feel like they put it in place because it was already established, and it's one of those things that makes it seem like a late-game temple, where, like, none of the early temples have the kid aspect. Now, because it's late game, it should have this, and that adds a level of complexity to it. You know, I think it's feigning complexity by having the child aspect of it included here. It's really fucking stupid. Like, I think story-wise, it makes so little sense to have the kid go in. You know why he has to go in? The things on the wall tell you return with the heart of a child, but there's no child-related tasks here. Everything is the same. The only difference is that there's a tiny hole in the wall that you can't fit in as an adult. And if that's the only reason you have to play this level as a kid, is to get through this tiny hole, is to abide by this pretty stupid practical puzzle, then I'm sorry, that sucks. That's stupid game design. You can go through every part of the childhood level as an adult, like I did today, and the only thing that'll trip you up is a single wall with a single little hole in it, and that's it. Other than that, the whole thing is the same. And that is so lazy. That is such a disappointing temple. Such a disappointment. And you know what? I'll say this. I think it's probably fondly remembered by, I'm sure there's a lot of people who love it, and it's because of the aesthetic. I'll tell you that. The aesthetic is pretty fucking good. Now, it's not even the best in the game, but it's still pretty fucking good. In terms of what it's doing on the Nintendo 64, absolutely. I'm not going to argue that. I think still, even in its worst form, it's pretty fucking good compared to everything else on the system. And for 1997, Jack, go fuck yourself. For 1997, this is like god tier graphical fidelity in every possible way. However, it's aged poorly. And objectively speaking, the levels, it's just poor design. Especially for the last temple. This one should have taken a really long fucking time. And you know what? It didn't. And you know what? The childhood adult aspect here, it was 50-50. One didn't add anything to the other. It only added a break in the action where I could stop. That was disappointing. That was disappointing. And that's a Majora's Mask thing that I really appreciate in hindsight, is never being able to stop a temple in the middle, having to play it in one go. I think that is something that somehow would have really benefited this temple and honestly the Shadow Temple as well, is not having that freedom. Maybe that's why they did it in the second one. Maybe that's part of the reason. If that were the case, it's a pretty cool reason. I really like it. But it was a disappointing one. That said, it wasn't boring. It was never boring. You know, the puzzles are fucking dumb, but I'm still having a fun time playing it. I can't really complain that much. Because now I get to do Ganon's Castle, and I'm pretty excited for that. Because the same as when you're inside of the moon on Majora's Mask, I realized that these final levels, I always remembered them as, it's just the final level. You know, that's what you just do at the end. Playing at least Majora's Mask again, I'm like, oh, no, these are temples. These are like full-on dungeons here. They're just, it feels like they're quicker because they have so much more variety because they're playing on the whole game, you know. And I really love that. I love seeing those things come back into play. I loved it in Majora's Mask, and I'm hoping that it sort of does the same thing here. I feel like it will. I guess we'll see. Okay. Well, I finished the game. I beat the game. So, well, I'm going to talk about the Ganon's Castle, which is basically its own dungeon, and the end of the game. I beat it. I beat both Nintendo 64 Zelda games. Pretty happy about that. Good job, Jack. You stuck to it. You did a great job, buddy. Okay, so inside Ganon's Castle. Look, I'm just gonna say it. This is like a disappointing dungeon. Okay. Is all of it disappointing? No. The challenges are disappointing because they're boring. Once you're actually like running up the staircase, that is really cool. But this shit is just like a little filler, in my opinion, and I think it's needlessly difficult, and it has a couple of weird flaws that I'm going to try to remember right now. All right, but I'm going to be scrolling through this fucking footage. All right, so you run in and you notice that the place is under duress. Is that the term, duress? Distress? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But basically, you realize that there is a little tiny challenge room dungeon thing for every temple you've beaten. You can see the little medallions above each of the doors. So you go in, you do a little challenge, or you fight a little boss or some bullshit like that. You get through the door and you shoot with your light arrows a big bulbous circular thingy-mabob. And by doing that, you are removing you're helping strip the inner chamber or whatever of its force field. So you have to eliminate all these bulbous thingies in order to be able to progress up the stairs and fight Ganon. Now the little fire temple room, probably the coolest lighting. I noticed that. I don't know why. I don't know why. Considering the rest of them were not very good, in my opinion. This room had pretty great lighting. It was it came from above, weird unknown light source. Looks really pretty. I liked that one. You're playing through the rest of them, blah blah blah. The next one I went to was the Shadow Temple room, because I remember in having played that when I was younger. That's where you get the golden gauntlets. And you need the golden gauntlets to do some shit throughout the rest of this little mini dungeon area. And by do some shit, I mean you need to throw a couple of really massive rocks that you haven't seen anywhere else in the game. Except for outside of Ganon's castle. So that's cool, because I went and did that, and then with all my heart pieces, I got the nice little white thing surrounding it, or whatever, which is a pretty great feeling, and honestly, it's kind of cool to watch Link throw the big-ass rocks behind him, like he was throwing a sack of flour, after having played the whole game, you know, because there's a lot of instances where you gotta push shit, you gotta pull shit, you gotta break rocks, you gotta do a bunch of stuff that involves heavy lifting, basically. And so it's nice for a change to not have to blow that up and not have to use a hammer or not be stymied by it. So it's kind of cool, and they do neat little cinematics where, he like fucking throws it behind him, or it blows up or whatever when he tosses it. Pretty cool, and you get the final aesthetic upgrade in the game, which is the gold gauntlets, which, though you're not going to be using very long, feel like a welcome sort of aesthetic addition to your character. On top of the mirror shield, the blue, whatever tunic you're wearing, I guess. It's pretty cool. And it makes playing through these sort of pointless additional dungeons kind of fun, because you get to look at your character a little bit more. There's a couple of fun puzzles here. The room where you're running around with the rocks is probably the highlight, because it's fun, you're always moving. It's kind of cool. The one I hated the most was definitely like the fire temple room, where you have to hop across I don't know why. This room was just like so finicky for me. I had to restart it so many fucking times. I thought it was complete bullshit. This one was just annoying, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I have to collect these coins? You know, I think this was one point where I'm like, yeah, I could have done without additional dungeon shit. Because I soon found out that it was just a matter of me taking off my fucking hover boots to hop across this platform I kept fucking falling off of. Which doesn't necessarily follow, considering the fact that you have to wear the hover boots, or else all the platforms start sinking really quickly into the lava. So, to me, personally, maybe this is just my own opinion, it made no fucking sense. It was dumb as hell. Alright, so you had that. That was annoying. Blah, blah, blah. You play through the little ice area. Kind of fun. I made a complete asshole of myself and couldn't solve it very quickly. Took me longer than it should have. I don't know where my mind was at, but yeah, I failed that one. That one was fucking tough. Alright, then you got the Spirit Temple room, which is pretty fucking stupid, pretty fucking easy. You hit a couple things, blah, blah, blah. Where's the, yeah. This was the biggest moment of bullshit, is where you're in the spirit temple room, and you're standing there under the light, and the thing from the ceiling, the re-dead hand or whatever the fuck it's called, you know, it's looming above you. It's about to fall. You roll out of the way, you dodge it, and then a fucking second one falls on you immediately.
What? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, that is such bullshit. Two at the same fucking time.
You know why? Because these hands are in every single temple in one room, at least, of every single temple, and never once have they fallen down in that quick of succession. There's never two at once. So the fact that they pulled that shit here doesn't strike me as like, oh, it's a challenge because it's the last fucking level. No, it strikes me as like bullshit. It strikes me as total fucking bullshit. Because it's unprecedented, and the fact that they're bringing it out, like, if this is like the big guns, if this is the big fucking challenge at the end of the game, then it is the shittiest, weakest challenge ever. Because it's not a challenge, it's just bullshit. It's just, you can't possibly dodge it anyway, you know? So I thought that was fucking ridiculous. It felt unearned, and honestly, it felt like a slap in the face, because I'm like, come the fuck on, you guys, seriously. So whatever, you play all that shit. All that shit is fucking stupid. All the little dungeon things, it's all fucking stupid. I like it because it's padding. And I prefer it's there rather than not being there, obviously. Just so that there's like a little bit more gameplay to be had. But, more than the dungeons themselves being like sort of whatever, it's just an uncreative area, like that outer antechamber surrounding, you know, like the main staircase you eventually begin ascending. It's boring looking. It's not fantastic or anything. There's no atmosphere whatsoever. It's like so boring. And all the rooms you run into are the same. I think the lighting in most of them is terrible. There's some great examples of like what this bad lighting that I was mentioning, this bad shadow effect that I was mentioning in the Spirit Temple. Really, really prominent here, like especially in the fucking lava room, where, you know, if you've played the Fire Temple, you know how good that the atmosphering can look. And you play it here, and it looks like shit. It looks like just like this. It's not. It looks like fogging. It doesn't look like anything intentional. It looks like bad fogging, because it's fucking purple for some reason. I don't know why they chose to do this purple fogging. I get like, oh well, you know, kind of it looks kind of sinister. It looks kind of no, it doesn't. It looks like bad fogging. It looks like when your TV can't quite hit true black or whatever, so it's at this weird middle ground where purple is apparently black. That's what it looks like. So it's like an ugly fucking area. There's nothing there. You think about Majora's Mask. There's a couple of these mini dungeons before you do the regular, before you go to the boss fight, right? When you're inside of the moon, and all of them, they all have their respective temples, music playing. They all have design philosophy drawn in from those temples. So I would imagine that they learned something that time around after having done this complete bullshit. But yeah, it's just, it serves no real relation to the temples that it's pulling from, other than a couple of superficial elements like lava, or, you know, you have some ice shit, you have some hidden shit from the Shadow Temple. Disappointing. I'm doing such a bad job at describing it, but very disappointing. So whatever, you do all that bullshit, and finally you can get to you get into the main shit, the main chamber, the reason you are playing in the first place. And this is where it starts picking up. Now, you have a couple of enemies. You know what? I haven't talked about this yet. I've been thinking about it since the other game. You have a couple of enemies. You're first greeted when you walk into the main stairwell area. You gotta fight these fucking bats, and you know what? I am so sick. I'm so fucking sick in this game and in the other game of these get the fuck away from me kind of enemies. These annoying ass Get the fuck away from me, enemies. They did this shit in the water temple all the time, where it's not a challenge, it's just like a nuisance. You're fucking swatting away a fly. I'm so sick of that shit. Stop doing that. Because you know why? Here's the deal. At least in this game, the fighting in the game, the fighting basically, when you're fighting, it takes too long. It's really slow fighting, I realized. Because I realized last night why the Iron Knuckles are so great and why I think those are probably my favorite fights in the game is because they're so slow, but they're not slow. They are, like, they match your speed. Like, that is basically how fucking slow you're moving. You know, and it's like, well, no, because you're actually running around. You're actually not going that fucking slow. Well, no, you're locked on. When you're locked on, you're moving like more slowly around the person. When you're, it's all the fucking fighting is slow. It's like, it's not nearly as quick as people maybe think it is, or I guess no, it's not nearly as quick or whatever as I thought it was. Or you know what? How about this? It's slower than I realized. There. Not implicating anybody, including myself. The fighting in this game is slower than I realized. And so, when you got a couple of annoying ass, tiny little fucking bats flying around you, yeah, it takes a minute. Every time you strike your sword, you gotta finish that animation before you can inevitably turn your head and face the thing once again. So, I'm fucking sick of all that stuff. That shit is so annoying to me. So fucking annoying. But whatever. Finally, you get into the staircase room, and we have the first example in this whole godforsaken Ganon's castle of some really fucking cool pre-rendered lighting effects on the door when you turn around looking back out into where you whence came. The exit, basically, has like some pretty immaculate lighting, which I was happy to see because the rest of this fucking dungeon doesn't have any interesting lighting. And honestly, this is one of the few examples in the staircase, I would say, where the lighting is just like super fucking superb. And it's a little bit more true to the other temples, basically. Finally, thank God. All right, so then you start running up the stairs. The music starts increasing. You still have a couple of mini bosses that you fight. This is fun, you know. Why couldn't the entirety of this area have just been a slow ascending loop upstairs? Why did they only do this for like the latter half of this area? I don't really understand that. This is far and away the most interesting part of Ganon's castle is winding your way up the staircase, the music growing increasingly loud. It's pretty fucking cool. And then you get to the area underneath where the final boss battle takes place. And this is where you see some pretty fucking interesting textures. Ones that I would say sort of set the tone for what they're going to end up doing in Majora's Mask, which is really ornate. Not ornate. I don't even know what word I'd use to describe it. Not ornate, because it's a little bit like this oversaturation of weird textures, you know. I like this area of inside Ganon's castle too. I think the lighting is pretty good here, but it's just interesting because it's like stained glass, and I don't know. It's doing something different. It's not just like the murky textures that they had been fucking. This is boring. Whatever. It looks cool. Okay, onwards. Now you go up the final staircase. This is the big fucking moment. I think this should have been I wish it was a little bit longer. Just this run up the stairs. This is so fucking cool. I would have preferred doing this for 30 minutes, just running upstairs, more than I preferred actually playing through those little fucking dungeons. Because this is such a great atmosphere, tension-inducing moment. You get to the top of the stairs Link is basically totally black at this point. Everything around him is orange. And this is when you know you're in for a fucking fight. You know, like, okay, this is the end of the game. Like the atmosphere is so oppressive feeling, and the tension of what's about to come basically forgives all the crappiness of the early areas of this temple, basically. And I wish they would have fucking done more of this. I wish they just would have leaned into the atmosphere a little bit more and done what they had done throughout all the other temples here, rather than, again, like the Spirit Temple, basically just throwing a clusterfuck of shitty, like, puzzles underneath one roof. Again, I'm not saying that I'm sad they did it, because I played it, you know, it's fun, it's a little bit more gameplay, awesome. What I didn't enjoy was that it was a substitute for something better. And by something better, I just mean something more in line with what they had been doing up until now, which is telling a story based on the environment immediately surrounding you. Okay? And there's none of that there until the latter half of this fucking temple. And the latter half of the temple, winding your way up the stairs, minus the fighting, takes you like 5 fucking minutes. You know, so it's just a shame, because that's what I'm playing for, is the atmosphere, and it was relegated to literal hallways here. Not even complete rooms, hallways, stairwells, that's it. And what they do have here in terms of atmosphere is brilliant. Like, running up the stairs, I can't think of like a more iconic moment on the Nintendo 64 than wrapping your way up those stairs. You know, the organ music increasing in volume. I mean, it's doing what it's doing very well. It's... Motherfucker! For the love of Christ! You guys are always fucking knocking some shit over! God. Okay. God. Fucking, I don't even remember where I was. Alright, well, thanks, Teeny. That was mean of me. Okay, anyway. Alright, you get in, blah, blah, blah. You're doing the boss fight. Look, I'm not going to talk much about what I think of... I don't know. Like, what hasn't been said about this already? You know, it's great. It's a fun boss fight. It's really interesting. I'm really impressed by the lighting during the lightning areas. You know, look, it's not a hard boss fight. It seems like it is, because when you get hit, it's like there's a lot of slowdown. You're like, oh my god, it's loud, and it makes the thing run really slow. It takes a lot of hearts. But at the end of the day, it's a really easy boss fight. And it's pretty fun, and honestly, it's a little bit disappointing in that regard, I guess. Now, I'm not necessarily, as I was just fucking going through... you know, I'm not really expecting great combat here, because it's so slow to fight in this game anyway. I'm just expecting like a fun back and forth kind of thing, and that's literally what this is a fun back and forth kind of thing. And as the fight goes on, you see holes start to appear in Ganondorf's cape, and that's like a really cool element. Like aesthetically, this whole fight is magnificent to look at, which is part of the reason I kept fucking up so much, is because I just wanted to like look. Because you know, the room gets all dark when he's hitting you with the lightning. The lighting on your tunic changes. You're not like bathed in black anymore. It's just like really, the spectacle of it is incredible. So you fight him. He falls down, whatever. He's coughing up blood. You're like, damn, that's it? This guy's kind of a wimp. You know, you walk into this room, and, you know, it's the 3 of you there. All 3 of you have a piece of the Triforce. And I really got it this time. I got a sense like, god damn, this is going to be a hell of a fight. I got a little bit nervous about it, because he's like such an imposing character. And then it really wasn't. It really wasn't a tough fight. But it's cool. It's really badass. You make your way down through the temple. This is interesting only insofar as it's a little bit surreal seeing Zelda on screen alongside your character. I always thought that was weird. In a good way, because she's only ever in cutscenes, and for the... one of my friends pointed this out, and it's true, but Zelda's these games are pretty lonely games, there's never any companion that you're, traveling with, when you're in the temples or when you're playing the game, basically, outside of, hub worlds or whatever, it's just you, it's just you, and, the first person looking around in 3D sort of heightens that fact. It's supremely an isolated game, I guess. And so it's a little weird having Zelda running around with you, just from a spectacle point of view. Now, the thing falling down, this is a great thing. Again, what can be said that hasn't been said about this already? I feel like I have nothing interesting to contribute to this. It's great, it's a fucking epic cutscene-esque, what the fuck, showpiece? What is it called in movies when they... Set piece. It's a wonderful set piece. Alright, blah, blah, blah. You make your way out of the temple. Hooray, Jack, we fucking did it. No, you didn't. The thing sinks down. Now, this is a really fucking cool moment, is when the castle goes down. And it looks incredible, too. This bit where the castle's in ruins is so... This is fucking beautiful. I mean, this just looks so good. The lighting is so well rendered, especially... There's a wall sticking out in the middle of all the rubble, of all the wreckage or whatever. I guess that's where Ganon is high. You hear a sound. They're like, oh my god, what's that sound? And then all the ambient noise totally stops, totally silent, which is so cool. It really amps up the tension or whatever. But I mean, this moment is just so well directed, I guess. This quiet tension, the smoke rising above the rubble. The rubble, again, in immaculate detail. You run over to it, and lo and behold, there's a second fucking boss. I knew it. You knew it. Ganondorf is not that weak. That would have been a puny, lame little boss fight. So now he turns into Ganon. And again, I have never been clear on the lore of this. He's also got the beast inside of him. The mark of the beast or whatever. That's what true evil is. You can turn into this big pig guy. Yeah, that happens. Now, again, easy boss fight, whatever. But this is a spectacle fight. This has nothing to do with, actual challenge. This is kind of an emotional moment. Not because it's sad, but, Navi's hey, this time we're fighting together. I'm not going to back away. I fucking teared up. Reading this, seeing fire, lightning in the background, this is the end of a fucking game. This is how you end a fucking game. And the lighting is beyond... I mean, this is how you end a fucking game. Again, the lighting is so true to what they've been doing the whole fucking time, wherein it's all bathed in black, and then you get these... So it's obscuring this weird-looking beast, which just makes it even creepier. Because I remember, the first time I played this, I had no concept of what Ganon was. This is the first Zelda game I ever played. And so, playing it now, remembering it then, and just seeing how they consistently attempt to obscure him in darkness is really fucking cool. Because it adds a tremendous sense of mystery to it, but also, danger. And being pretty frightened by the thing, because when the lightning strikes, that's the only time you can make out, for a brief instant, this animal thing. And the first time I played it, again, I had no idea what the fuck this thing was, so it only ever struck me as creepy. You know, it never struck me as, oh, that's like that's just the 64-bit rendition of Ganon, who's actually been around for the past several games. Probably not the best Ganon fight. You know, it never struck me as anything even remotely related to anything other than this moment right here. And playing it again last night, I sort of realized that, like, the lightning sort of illuminating this whole platform little by little. You almost don't want to finish the fight just because of how fantastic this whole thing looks and feels. You know, it really makes you think, like, this is exactly what fans must have fucking wanted back when this came out. You know, this is what fucking fan service is, in my opinion. It's not just redoing something for the sake of redoing it. It's like everyone wanted this. Everybody wanted to see. I know for a fact that Link to the Past has your Ganondorf fight, maybe, or at the very least, it's got that Ganon fight. It's a fucking hard fight from what I remember. And so everybody was expecting a big, epic Ganon fight here. And not only did they deliver on that, not only is there a Ganon fight, hooray, there's a fucking Ganon fight. Like, however many years later, we know basically that every Zelda now has a Ganon fight, right? Like, it's not even a question. There's going to be some kind of Ganon fight. But I feel like when this came out, it was just established that Ganon's like the final boss. So it wasn't even assumed that it would happen. It would be like, I hope that fucking happens, because in 3D that would be incredible to see. And they did it. Like, this boss fight just makes you realize that up until this point, the entire game, including now, was always in service of Nintendo's fucking fans, you know? I can't imagine any Nintendo fan, any Zelda fan, playing this game at this moment thought, I don't know. Like, this had to be, like, everyone must have been fucking losing their minds. Their eyes must have been rolling into the back of their heads when they got to this point, because it's such a spectacle piece. It's so fucking, not only is it epic or whatever, but this is just showcasing, like, look what we can do in 3D. Look what we can do with polygonal character models. What we can do with, like, real-time lighting effects. What we can do in an environment where you're permitted to basically go anywhere you want and explore any way you want. Like, look what we can... Like, this is proof that the next generation of fucking consoles what was the future of what gaming eventually became, or what it would be. You know, you think about anything that came after this game, Zelda-wise, it's all this game. Like, this is the one that set everything up. Like, every game since, like, Twilight Princess, for instance, literal remake of this game. What does it do differently? Nothing. Other than that, it's on a different engine with better gameplay, in my opinion. And, like, updated graphics. And, you know, it's got an edgier story or whatever, but Zelda never... I'm only talking about Zelda. Maybe the same can be said of other games, but Zelda never, in my opinion, made a leap as extreme as the leap from 16-bit to 64-bit graphics. Is it 64-bit graphics? I don't fucking know. I don't care. There's never been a more extreme leap, in my opinion. So yeah, you beat Ganon, whatever, and that's it. You do the little sage piece, and then you go back in time. Zelda sends you back in time, and you watch the cutscene, and every character you've come to know and love is having a big party. Everyone's real happy, and the sages are up on the mountain looking down, and you get... You know, then comes the end screen where it says the end, presented by Nintendo. And I'll be honest with you, I cried like a little baby. Because it's a really good game. and it's a really, really strong ending. In that, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful ending, and it hits all the points you could ever have wanted it to hit. And when it's done, it's done. I think that's what strikes me so much, especially this time playing it through. Knowing that I haven't played this shit in like 10 years. I got to that end screen and I'm like, that's it. I'm never playing, I might never play this game again. Or at least for another 10 years. Because I remember it so well, and it's sad, it's really sad. And of course, there's like hope in that, there's all these other consoles. So many Zelda games have come out since. They're only like pleasing people even more now. We just saw an open world fucking Zelda game. So, they're constantly Nintendo's always evolving, which is cool. But it's sad because it seems like this evolution to me just had some of the most unprecedented energy involved with it. Like, this is clearly such a work of extreme passion, because it's not only like they didn't only do shit to please the fans. They didn't only make a game that the fans definitely wanted. They pushed it as far as they absolutely possibly fucking could. Like, this is the game every Zelda fan was hoping for. And not only did they get it, but it ended up being like one of the great, great games of all fucking time. It's pretty special in that regard. Yeah, that's it. That's my Ocarina of Time retrospective.